Unfortunately, we'll have to adjourn their meeting.
Now, frustrations in Lawrence County continue. A school board meeting over before it begins last night, and now today one member has resigned because of ongoing tension between the board chair and the superintendent.
Yeah, that board member says he feels the situation is a, quote, dismal outlook with no hope of redemption. Fox Carolina's Zach Prelutsky was at that meeting from last night, and he's been following the developments. He's live outside the district office with the latest.
Well, Justin and Tori, chaos and disorder. That's how Todd Varner described the situation in his resignation letter. And his resignation comes on the heels of back-to-back school board meetings that have ended abruptly. Now, in the resignation letter delivered and sent to both Superintendent Dr. Amika Thomas and School Board Chair Kathy Little, Varner says he continues to see no progress in repairing the working relationship between the two, and the rift and unwillingness to see the other perspective leaves him little to no hope for any forward progress in the future. Varner goes on to say the behavior he describes as vitriolic of Dr. Thomas's supporters in recent meetings has degraded what should and could be a constructive and positive collaboration into chaos and disorder. Back in February, Dr. Thomas's contract was discussed by the school board. No action during that meeting was ultimately taken. The contract was back on the agenda last night, but was never discussed after the board could not get that agenda approved. Now, supporters of the superintendent say the board chair is trying to push her out because of race. Now, the school board chair has not publicly said what the reason for that initial contract review was. Emails between Thomas and Little obtained by Fox Carolina show tension over handling parent complaints and the sharing of what the board chair has called personal business with other board members. Now, a second board member also resigned today, Neil Patterson, although he cited having to move outside of the district boundaries and a legal obligation to resign from the board as the reason why he had to resign today. Now, both of those open seats will be filled by a special election that's set for August 1st. For now, reporting live in Lawrence, Zach Prelutsky, Fox Carolina News.
All right, Zach, thanks. Well, Chair of the board, Kathy Little, sent us a statement saying in part, quote, unfortunately, due to the actions of some board members last night, we were not able to conduct business. Board members are servants to the community, have an obligation to perform the duties in which we were elected to perform. The negligence of some have grossly let down our students.